Good morning. This is Gail DeLuca at White Fox Beads, and I'm here on the Czech Glass Inspirations channel, companion to the book Czech Glass Inspirations by Dilker and myself, to walk you through the basic steps in making just a simple drop earring. We're going to cover other styles of earrings in some other videos, but this is just a real basic drop earring. And I'm going to walk you through a wrapped loop, which is the loop that's going to be on top of the bead, and that is going to be a nice secure style loop. So if you've never done earrings before, this video is for you. I wanted to show you the basic tools, so we're going to start with those. This is a chain nose plier, and what's unique about it is that it's flat and smooth on the inside, and it's got a nice pointed tip to get into some small spaces. Sometimes you hear people call this a flat nose plier. It is not a flat nose plier. A flat nose plier would have a flat rather than a pointed tip. This is called a chain nose plier. The next tool is a round nose plier, and you can see that this has two cone-shaped pieces in the jaw, and that is what we're going to be using to form our loops or any round shapes. And the next tool is a really good pair of flush cutters. And when I say really good, I mean not your super high-end $40, $50, $60, $80 flush cutters. I'm talking about a more reasonably priced flush cutter, but not your bottom of the line. This is a nice medium range that I found works great for everyday use, and I sell it at the shop. They are made in Italy, and they're known for these distinctive red and black handles. I get them from Eurotool, for whom I am a distributor. So any place that sells Eurotool, you'll be able to find this product. So let's get started and talk about the supplies. So this is a head pin, and what it is a piece of wire, and it's got a head on the end, and that's what keeps the bead from falling off. So when you put the bead on the head pin, it doesn't fall off. Okay, and then what we do is we add a loop with the rest of the wire and then hang that from an ear wire. So this head pin is a thick gauge, probably about a 20 gauge pin. It's a little bit heavy for doing wrapped loops because it just takes up more space and it doesn't look as delicate. So usually your inexpensive, the ones that kind of look like stainless steel, almost kind of a matte tarnished finish, when you get them, what I call the ugly ones, they're going to be about this gauge. The one I have here is a silver plated, which is the only thing I carry in my store and the only thing I use unless it's sterling or argentium. But the thicker gauge you want to stay away from if you're a beginner, just because you're going to have so much more ease if you use a thinner gauge. So this is a thinner gauge head pin. You can see how much thinner that wire is. This is probably about a 22 gauge or a 24 gauge. Not quite as thin as a 26. 26 gauge, if you buy them, might have a head that's too small. It'll slip right through your bead. So you want to check that. You can see in these two gauges how different the size of the head is between the two. So I'm going to set the thicker gauge one aside. We're going to use the thinner gauge one, and we're going to check that on the bead. And we're going to make sure that bead not only doesn't fall off, but that there's plenty of head there that's not going to collapse and pull through the bead. This is a very nice fit. If I'm using a head pin that's got too small of a head, sometimes what I'll do is I'll add a little seed bead right in there and maybe a matching one at the top, and that will make the material that I'm using work, and it adds a nice little delicate finish to the earring itself. Gives it a little bit nicer finished look. Okay, so let's move on to the wrapped loop itself. You start with your round nose pliers, and you're going to hold it right next to the bead. You want to make sure that there's no wire sticking out at the end of this. So I tug on this and secure it. If you hold the bead in your hand and start making your loop, and if you've got all this wire down here, you're going to have a lot of space over here that you're going to have for your wraps, and it's not going to be a very neat finish. So the bead all the way to the pin, to the head of the pin, and then hold that round nose plier securely. Where you hold it on the plier is going to make a difference in how much room you have for your wraps. So I'm holding it toward the tip. I've got as we discussed, a thinner gauge head pin here, so I can hold it about 1/4 of an inch or less actually from the tip of the pliers. Any more than that, I'm going to have a lot of wraps, and if I run out of pin, then I'm going to have some excess wire that's going to show, and it's not going to look good. So what we want to do is bend that, and I just push it with my thumb to bend it. I'm going to bend that pin against the pliers, and that gives me a nice 90-degree bend there. Okay. Then I'm going to start to shape the loop, and for that I'm going to shape the loop with this part of the wire. So I need to move my pliers around just a 1/4 turn. So I'm releasing my grip. I'm not releasing my grip. I'm holding the pliers. I'm not changing how I hold the pliers. I'm just releasing the grip on the wire and rotating that, and then I'm closing the jaws of the plier again on that wire. Okay, so I want it tucked right into that corner. And now I'm going to shape this part of the wire around this top part of the round nose plier jaw. So I'm just going to push that. And if you push, you're putting leverage on this, and you're letting the plier do the work of the shaping into a loop. So I'm pushing it all the way around as far as I can go. But the bead's blocking my way. I've got other stuff in my way here. So again, I'm going to release the grip on the wire. I'm holding my hand the same on the pliers. I'm gripping the pliers the same. I'm just letting the pliers open as I turn the pliers a little bit, about a 1/4 turn, to get everything out of my way so I can finish the circle. Okay. So now that I've got that circle complete, you've got this little bit of wire right here between the bead and that first bend, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this wire right here and we're going to wrap it around that little piece of wire. And I'm going to switch hands to do this because I am right-handed and I can get more control with my right hand. So what I do is I keep the pliers closed as I'm switching hands, and then I pick up my chain nose pliers. Okay, so your round nose pliers are for forming loops. Your chain nose pliers are going to give you the best grip because they are flat and it gives you more contact with the surface of the wire. So I have a saying: the tip of the pliers grab the tip of the wire. If you grab it in here, you're going to bend all this wire and you're not going to get as much leverage. You're actually going to get more leverage and pull if you grip the tip of the wire. And as I'm wrapping it around, I'm kind of pulling gently to keep that tension on. And every half turn, I let go of the wire, turn the pliers a little bit, and re-grip it. Re-grip the wire. I'm not changing how my hand is holding the pliers. I'm just changing my grip on the wire. Otherwise, if you don't let go, you're going to end up wrapping the tip of the wire around the tip of these pliers. So another half turn, release the grip on the wire, still holding my pliers the same way. I'm just turning my wrist, and then re-gripping that wire, and then repeating that until I get 2 to 3 wraps is what is about secure, and it looks very pretty. And if you did the right spacing here, it'll fill up that space right in there. So now the next thing I do is I need to trim this tail here. So I'm going to turn and hold this, hopefully so you can see it. When I trim the tail, I want to use the flush side of my flush cutters. This will ensure that I get as close as possible to the spot on the ear wire. And I just reach in. These have a nice sharp point. It's sharp all the way to the tip. I can get right in there and just trim it right off, and it's nice and smooth. If you don't get it quite close enough, you can always reach in with your chain nose pliers and just give it a little squish and tuck it in. Sometimes that happens, especially in the beginning. But there you have a simple drop. I call these sometimes charms because people come in the store looking for charms, and I say we can take any bead and make it into a charm that you can hang from something else. In the case of today's video, we are going to hang this from an ear wire. So that's the next supply I want to show you. And this is an ear wire. And it is a simple shape. It's got a little coil here at the bottom for decoration. And this loop now is closed. It's secure. It's not going to be able to be opened up unless we undo it, which we just can't do because we can't get in there. We trimmed it nice and close. So we need an ear wire that's got an open loop here to be able to attach these two. So the way we open loops is always with a twisting motion. If you picture this as the loop, and if this is where the opening is, you never want to pull it apart like this because you're never going to get that round shape right back, and you're going to put some strain on the join here that's going to work hard in it. You always want to twist like this, and then you can get back to a nice secure connection here. This is where most earrings fail when we take repairs in. If this loop isn't closed properly on the ear wire, the dangle can fall off and get lost, or just, hopefully not lost, just disconnected. We do a lot of repairs, and this is a big failure point. So I'm going to show you how to do that on the actual ear wire. You use your chain nose pliers for gripping. If you use your round nose pliers, you're going to be more likely to dent and mar this portion of the wire. So you grip the part that's open, and you twist it toward you. You slip that other loop on. Here we go. And then grip it again and twist it closed. And sometimes to get a nice tight fit, you have to go beyond and then come back and just wiggle it back and forth until you get a nice tight fit. But that is a beautiful fit. And now you have a very nice earring. I'm going to do that one more time because earrings come in twos and can't hurt to see the process one more time. I'm going to string the bead on the head pin. It's not falling off. I'm going to grab the head pin with my round nose pliers here, and right about a little bit less than 1/4 of an inch in, I'm going to push away from me with my thumb and get a nice 90-degree bend. I'm going to release my grip on the wire, still holding the pliers in the same way. I'm going to release the grip on the wire and rotate my wrist and grip right there at the corner. And then I'm going to take this wire and bend it, push it with my fingers around the top of the round nose pliers. And then I need to, still holding onto my pliers in the same way, I'm going to release my grip on the wire, rotate my wrist a little bit to get that plier out of my way so I can complete the formation of the loop. Now I'm going to, while maintaining pressure and grip on the wire, I'm going to switch hands, just move it over into my other hand. And then I'm going to grab the tip of the wire with the tip of the pliers and start wrapping it around the stem here. And I didn't mention before, when you wrap, you want to start at the loop and work your way down toward the bead. So that will give you nice, neat wraps. And trying to lay one wrap right underneath the previous wrap, working your way down, and you'll have a very, very neat finish. And then we are going to take our flush cutters and reach in with the flush side toward the bead and just give it a little nip. And there's our finished wrapped loop. And now we're going to attach it to the ear wire. So I'm going to look for where that ear wire opens, twist the loop forward toward me, slip on my charm or drop, and then with another twisting motion, close it back up, nice and tight. And there you have it, a beautiful pair of earrings. Thank you for watching. This is Gail DeLuca at White Fox Beads in Knoxville, Tennessee. Come see us if you're in town. Thanks.